So the breakthrough habit is simply this. It's a way to handle and tackle fear. So fear is actually a good thing. It keeps us safe. It keeps us, if there's an alligator right there and you're fearful of stepping on his head, listen to that. We want to be intelligent, right? But isn't it true that we also at times encounter fear that stops us from moving forward in the path that we know we should move forward through? And so that's what this acronym is for. I want you to note this. FEAR, it's false evidence appearing real. Now, anytime that you find fear, a lot of times our tendency is to start to fixate on all the things that can go wrong. But in reality, it's usually disproportionately so, and then it keeps us held back. So the question becomes, how do you actually take action in the face of that fear? And the answer is, you need to get into an empowered state. So anyone out there play sports? Yeah? What do you play? Basketball? Okay. So before a game, are there any things that you do to get hyped up? Listen to music. That's a great way to change your state, right? You're changing your focus, you're changing your physiology, and you're ready to go, right? Versus sometimes if we're sitting around, lying around, we're going to react in a very different way. We're going to make different decisions depending on the state that we're in. So that's the first part. The second part is we want to be able to control our focus. And so what's the best way that you can control your focus? You can ask yourself a better question. And that's what I've been telling you guys all along, right? Learning to ask yourself a better question is going to give you a better answer. And so here's 2 questions that you guys can use starting today. What's the worst that can happen? Because if you ask the question, what's the worst that can happen? And then you figure out what the worst is that can happen, then maybe it doesn't seem not that scary anymore. Secondly, is this going to kill me? Am I going to die? And if the answer is no, then why not, right? So that's how you lean into fear. That's how you take action. And guess what? Taking action is going to give you a result. Now, whether or not this result is positive or negative, that's going to be, is that a fire alarm? No. Anyways, so you're going to get a result regardless, right? Whether it's positive or negative, who knows? You've taken an action, but the great thing about that is you get the result. If you take no action, you get no result. So let's just say, hypothetically, you get a 50-50 chance of getting a positive or a negative result. If you get the positive result, you can continue taking the same action and getting the same positive result. If you get a negative result, you can learn from that and you can shift and you can do something else. New strategy, new action, until you get the result that you want. Now, once you get the result that you want, it's a simple pattern, right? We want to repeat that pattern and we want to grow. And using this very specific cycle, right, you start to build momentum. That's why I called it the breakthrough habit. It's a habit of breaking through continuously, and you build momentum. And for those of you, how many of you have had a habit that you have now that you didn't even realize what you're doing? So anyone drive here? I know driving is not as popular these days, but first time you drove, was it easy or difficult? And now how is it? Not hard, right? Same thing with anything, right? You do something enough times, it becomes easier. And so we did this time and time again with my IT business. We were able to build it into a multi-million-dollar business. And then eventually I'd go on to sell it for 7 figures. And then I was like, all right, that was pretty cool because I leaned into fear. But what's next? Well, I want to build financial freedom. So I took that money that I got from selling the business and I put it into real estate. Now, the reason why I put it into real estate was because I was after something called passive income. Anyone ever hear of passive income? Passive income is money that you earn regardless if you work or not. Who wants some of that? Right? Because isn't it great if you get money, someone pays you rent, and then you pay the expenses, but then there's a profit margin at the end? That's passive income. So I did that. I put the money into real estate and I created passive income. And because of the passive income, as long as that's bigger than your expenses, then technically you never have to work a day in your life again. And so it allowed me to retire early at the age of 36. Now I will tell you that even though retirement is fun and great and awesome, as humans, we are designed to continue to grow and expand and to ultimately, I believe, serve. And so I was like, okay, life's great, but there's more to do. And so I was like, well, I've got all these ideas. I've done some pretty cool things. I want to share this with other people. So I was like, all right, well, I want to write. I want to share these ideas. And so a long time ago, blogging was a thing, right? Where you'd go and share your ideas. You create a blog. My blog was called financiallyalert.com. And I wanted to share ideas about financial freedom, how to invest in real estate, how to build a company, how to get in the right mindset, how to share the breakthrough habit, right? But guess what? Fear popped up again. And this time it got pretty visceral because I was like, what are people going to think of me if I put my ideas out there? Who am I to share this information? Even though technically it made sense that I would share this information, I still had this fear, right? And what if people don't read the blog? So then again, what's the worst that can happen? Well, people don't read it. Oh, well, at least I did it. At least I won't die knowing that I didn't try. Is this going to kill me? Am I going to die? Probably not. Okay. Publish. First time I pressed the publish button, essentially the enter key, right? I was trembling. I kid you not. I was literally trembling because I was so fearful, but I leaned into fear and I did it anyway. And then I did it again and again and again. And in the beginning, no one read the blog, but then slowly people started to pay attention. People started to comment. People started to read it, and it started to get fun. And then guess what happened? Something really cool happened. Companies like MSN and Yahoo Finance and Business Insider, big media companies, started to take notice, and they started to share my story. And because of that, I ended up getting a book deal with Simon & Schuster, which is one of the largest book publishing companies out there. And so this is me and my kids in Barnes & Noble with my book here, The Fire Planner. And so my book is all about financial independence and how to retire early. And later, actually, I'm going to do a raffle if you guys want to win a copy. So with each opportunity or with each fear that I leaned into, a new opportunity would pop up. And so because of the book deal, because I was sharing my story, I got more attention. And then they wanted me to speak. Anyone out there have the fear of public speaking? It's the number one fear out there, above death. I kid you not. More people would rather not public speak, rather die, which is crazy. So that was my number one fear, public speaking. But again, I used the breakthrough habit. And I kept doing it anyways. And to be honest, I was one of the worst speakers you would ever find. And in high school, I was the guy in the back corner, just like chilling out, not really paying attention, didn't say anything to anyone. People probably thought I was mute. Some of my classmates that I have here today, when we're doing the reunion, they probably don't even know who I am because I didn't say anything. I was just so invisible, right? And so there's, again, this big visceral fear of putting myself out there. But I did it because I asked myself, okay, is this going to kill me? No. What else can this mean? That was another question I asked myself. And ultimately, I wanted to share these ideas with other people because I think it's valuable to have some of these tools, to have the option, the freedom of not having to work for money so that you can pursue a passion, pursue the idea that you want that's authentic to you without having to worry about the money. I think that's a very valuable tool to have. And so I got more speaking opportunities. And in 2003, 2 summers ago, Good Morning America, the largest morning show in America, called and said, hey, we'd love to feature you on our show. Is it cool if we share your story? And of course I said yes. Now I'll tell you that, going into live national television with millions of eyeballs on you may have seemed daunting. And yeah, I had a little bit of fear, but the truth was it was nothing remotely as scary as me pressing that publish button the first time, which is crazy to think about. And the reason why I share that with you is because for all of you, the hardest part is that first step. And in hindsight, you look back and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that was such a tiny step. But that is the piece where you can literally change the script and change the entire trajectory of your life. And so with you guys now being at this age, first and foremost, I want to give you guys permission to explore. You know, I felt the need that I had to have everything figured out. But the truth is you don't. You have the rest of your lives ahead of you. And by using the breakthrough habit, this gives you the opportunity to explore exactly what's important to you and authentic to you, more importantly. And when you explore and when you embody yourself authentically, that's where the magic happens. So, question for you, where will moving past fear take you?